Inspiring to legions of music fans throughout the world. It's taken me a while to track her down, but now I have, and it's an honor to bring in Gloria Jones. Welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you for having me. How's everybody doing?
It's how sweet it is to talk to Gloria today. I found an album on Tamla. It was an offshoot of Motown, but that's not you.
No.
Okay, there's this other. It's just been very vexing to me.
It's another Gloria Jones that had been recording for some time, and it seems like I was always kind of mixed up with her. So just wanted to let everybody know that that's not this Gloria Jones.
So this Gloria Jones, I want you to talk about a seminal moment in your young life in the church when the singing and the modified trap set and the tambourine and the clapping really in your mind fused that the two, magic and music, together, when you really felt the spirit come alive. If there was a time in your younger life you could talk about when that really solidified for you.
Well, I grew up in the church. Like I said, my father was a minister back in I think Frisco, Texas, and since I was a very little girl, I knew about church, the spirit, the singing, the Word of God. I didn't start really getting into the music until about, I did sing when I was very small, but I didn't really get into it until about, started understanding about the Holy Spirit, until about 13, when my father moved to, we came to California, and he organized a church in Oakland. I'm a garage, nevertheless. And my sister played the piano. My older sister played the piano, and I have a middle sister. She sang, and we had like a little family group that we would sing together. So we would help get the choir together. But I really started understanding everything about it about the age of 11 to 13. And I didn't start messing around with the tambourines until much later, after high school. Actually, by the time I started getting into the started playing around with Jerry, and I was also singing gospel at the same time. And that's when I started playing with the percussions, the tambourines, and the more I worked with the Garcia Band, the more I picked up other percussion to try to play with. But I didn't know anything about that really that much until I really got into, I was into the band. We was doing a lot of traveling.
Right. No, this is so. Your father started a congregation in his garage.
Well, we were in Alameda. We lived in Alameda, and he found a friend's garage in Oakland, and he started his church in the garage, and the people right there in that very community would start coming there to our church. And a lot of people had to start out like that, ministers. So he did that for some years, and then we moved to a couple of other buildings, and then we moved to this building in Oakland where the church is still there now.
What's the name of the church?
Tabernacle Baptist Church.
It's a Baptist church. So And what can you tell me what year you moved into that church?
Oh my God, let me see. That must have been in maybe around 57.
Wow. Okay, so that's
I was
awesome.
a little girl. I was a little girl. It's kind of hard for me to remember these times.
No, but it's important for me to know So, I mean, the blues was, even though the blues came out of the church, even when I talked to when I talked to cats like Melvin Seals, his parents had to go to work before he could start playing boogie woogie. The blues wasn't really accepted or acknowledged as holy music. But when was your first exposure to the blues in Oakland? I mean, it was a hotbed of activity in the '60s. Can you talk about some music performances you did outside of the church, blues kind of settings, or just music outside of gospel?
Didn't do anything like that until out of high school. And I think the very first, of course, my father being a minister, we couldn't really play music in the home. But I would always find a way to listen to everything. I was listening to the Ink Spots back at that time.
Yeah, right on.
And I would always find a way to listen to different music, and I loved the pop, the R&B, the blues. I loved all of it. So when I'm losing my thought here.
Were you going to see like cast like let's see, would you get a chance to go see James Brown and the Flames, or would you go?
Yeah. When I was in high school, of course, I loved like James Brown and
Curtis Mayfield and Donny Hathaway and those cats.
Oh God, Curtis Mayfield, and I'm trying to think of the name of the group that he was in. He was one of my favorites.
The Impressions.
Yes, and I love the Temptations. God, I'm trying to think of all these different names. The very first time I got a chance to do something, I want to tell you this before I lost this thought, is I actually didn't realize until years after I was with Jerry that Melvin, I had met Melvin back in 75 or something like that.
Wow.
And didn't realize that I got a chance to play in this play that he was, doing the music with. It's called Evolution of the Blues.
With John Hendricks. Yeah. Were you in that with John Hendricks?
Yes, I was with Melvin. And I think John was, I'm trying to remember, did he produce the play or was he in the play? I don't know.
It was on Broadway in San Francisco for many years. I know. Yeah.
I think that was when he was not there.
Right. Mm-hmm. But Melvin was Melvin the musical director of that show?
At that time, I believe so, because I remember him playing that organ.
Right on.
And I didn't realize that for a long time after we had been together. That was so strange to me. But I got a chance to work with that show for about a month or so, I think. And it was after John Hendricks wasn't there, because there was another gentleman. He was out of the church also. What is his name? Herman. Well, I know his first name was Herman.
Mm-hmm. But I want to be, this is so important. Were you playing an active professional role in Evolution of the Blues?
I got a chance to, yes.
Wow. So you were singing?
I sang, and I did a little, the little cafe scene. They had to use me one day because the lady that did the dancing hurt herself. And they asked me to take this place of coming out on stage with this little really short outfit on. And it was so funny to me because I didn't know what I was doing. But I acted the part. It seemed like everybody loved it because they were laughing so hard.
Well, they at least supported you, whether or not you did it right. But they knew that you did good.
They liked it because I got a chance to do it a few times, and I think the last day Sidney Poitier came over, and I got a chance to meet him. So it was a lot of highlights. And at the same time, I was doing hair in Oakland.
Really?
Yeah, I'm an ex-hairdresser, and when I started working with Jerry, I kind of, I kept doing it for quite a few years, but I kind of did both at the same time. When we wasn't playing, I was doing hair.
I guess were you doing Jerry's hair? Because that dude's hair was a mess for a minute. When you first joined the band, his hair got real long.
No, Jerry was not one of my customers.
So this is already quite a revelation. I mean, were you? Were you going to check out like a lot of the soul? I mean, I guess we already went through that, but I mean, like, did you have an opportunity to do any R&B and soul work prior to I guess you joined Jerry in the fall, roughly fall of '83, but in the late '70s, did you do any recordings in like a soul, funk, R&B kind of setting?
No, I didn't do any recordings. What I did was when I met Melvin, I accidentally, well, not accidentally, I went to the studio with some friends, his studio, and I did a little bit of background with the guys that was doing this song that they were trying to get recorded, and Melvin asked me if I would be interested in coming in and doing some work with him in his studio. And maybe about 2 or 3 months later, he asked me if I would be interested in working with the Jerry Garcia Band. That's kind of getting ahead of where we are.
Yeah, no,
right?
I was just the '70s. It was such an amazing time. I mean, in the Bay Area specifically, there was just so much going on, and I remember talking to Tony Saunders, Merle's son, and he said that Melvin had a lot of projects in the '70s. So I'm trying to pinpoint some of those sessions because I think you might have been on them.
Well, it was a lot of gospel recordings that we were doing at that time. And I am on quite a few of his recordings. Now, I can't remember all of them.
How about one?
Well, we worked on a Kevin Peabody album.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he's got music out now.
That was in the '80s, and this was before you joined Jerry.
We did a lot of things doing. It was before.
Right.
His name is trying to creep in my mind. I'm telling you.
Did he by chance have a big hit that you were on? I'm just trying to remember. I feel like there was.
Yeah, it came out, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name. There were quite a few recordings that I'm on the gospel side.
Well, it'll come to you. I guess I want to get. Would you talk about? I just love. Could you talk about the first time that you went to Club Front in San Rafael to? I mean, did you even have a tryout, or did you? Can you talk about that first experience walking into Dead headquarters there?
Oh wow! First off, Melvin brought me in. Then he introduced me to Jackie, who took 2 months. And we went through every song and rehearsed everything together. Now, that was before I even laid eyes on Jerry. And it was we practiced for over 2 months, and then the first show we did, which we did at the Stone. No, we went to rehearsal, and we went through a couple of sets of songs, and Jerry was very pleased with me, you know, and that's when he let me know that I was in. And the first show we did was at the Stone in Berkeley.
Sure.
And when I walked in there, I mean, I knew about Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia, but when I saw the people, we had to go through the crowd to get to the stage.
Right. I love it.
And Jackie told me, hold my hand. I was like a little kid following her, and as we were running through the crowd to get to the stage. But I was in awe. And when I saw the people, I said, what is this? I didn't know. I had never been at a show, you know. So, but it was awesome. It was awesome. And it was thrilling, too. So,
Go ahead. Continue.
I learned how I couldn't get on stage and dance the way I normally dance, but I learned the deadhead boogie real good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, talking to Gloria V. What does the V stand for?
Gloria Y.
Gloria Y. What does the Y stand for? Yvonne. Gloria, can you equate, for younger cats, can you equate the spiritual quality of a enlightened gospel performance versus a Garcia Band performance? I mean, the more research that I never saw Jerry live. I never saw the Dead. I was too young.
Really?
Yeah, I was born in '78. And so I just sort of, by the time I guess I potentially could have seen you guys in the early '90s, but I just wasn't that hip. And the more I look at it, it's amazing because as I'm reading, I mean, the Grateful Dead and in some cases Jerry Garcia Band were a religion for a lot of people. I mean, it was no joke; it was a religion, and as a result, the shows took on a spiritual quality. And I was hoping you could talk about that as somebody who did not know anything about the underground sort of vibe. I wish you could, because it's so important. People look at spirituality and kind of a more rigid sort of fundamentalist or view with Christianity, Judaism, Islam, but I mean this is about transcending through music, and I just was hoping you could riff on that for a minute.
Well, coming from church, like I said, there was always a great spirituality there, and when the people would feel the spirit, they would act on it. And when I saw how by praising and raising their hands and crying and shouting.
I'm here, babe.
Oh, I'm sorry. My phone is doing some crazy things.
You're on fire. Go ahead.
When I experienced being with the Garcia Band, I saw this same spirituality. How they were happy and they'd be so caught up in the music to where they didn't seem to, nothing around them seemed to bother them. Only the music and the people in front of them. They just exploded with happiness. And I just figured, this is a great spirit here. Jerry caused a lot to be done in the minds of people, and he brought so much to them, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So,
I guess the other thing I wanted to ask, I mean, the most fascinating period to me of Jerry's career is not what most people consider. It's really the time that you joined. And I just was wondering if you were aware at that time of how, I mean, you must have, I mean, he was really in terrible physical shape at that point. And I wasn't sure if you were aware of the fact that he was basically was killing himself.
Yeah, I think around that time is when he got really sick, and they found out that he was a diabetic.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how bad it was, because I was just happy to be able to
Right.
Go to a show, and but I found out later, what how it was, and so I was really surprised. I'm reading some of the material from us. I was trying to find some things, reading some of the material, and I just really found out how sick he was at that time, because I did not know it then. I knew a few years later how sick he was. But
did you?
I didn't know it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I love how Jacqueline was the same way. Did you have a day job when you first joined the band? You would carve out. Did you have a day job, and then when you went on these summer tours or fall tours, you would ask for time off from work? How did that happen?
The thing was, I was my own boss.
Good, very good.
And I worked in a beauty shop. I did hair.
You did hair? That's right, you did. You got to do whatever's left of my hair. You got to work on.
I had this job where I was doing hair. I was working in a beauty salon in Oakland, and so whenever I needed, when these opportunities came up for me, incidentally, I'm leaving out one thing. Before I even got with Jerry or Melvin, I worked Larry Bradford.
Larry Bradford?
Yeah, he was awesome on the keyboard.
Oh,
he was crazy.
I've never heard of this cat before. This is badass. All right, so yeah, you worked with him.
Yeah, in fact, I was the singer. I was singing in the clubs.
Which club was it?
Well, it was different ones in Oakland, and
with a Black Knight.
No, this was like toward Haywood Way,
right.
East Oak.
Wow, this is unbelievable. All right, continue.
And I played in the Larry Bradford band for a few years, and I was the featured singer. So that's when I really got experience of being on the stage. Before, I had experience of singing in choirs and just traveling different places. So I could do that very well, but when I got the experience of working with the Larry Bradford Trio, that was a great experience. It got me ready for being able to be with Jerry.
How did it get you ready?
Well, I had the experience of performing.
Mm-hmm.
The crowds there, playing to the people, and knowing how to. I had to do it by feeling, knowing how to get through to them, and I learned that from being in the church. And it's all a deep spirit thing, and it's a lot about feeling. And I learned how to deal with the public that way. So it made it easier for me to be able to walk in other situations that I could handle. So it really got me ready for evolution of the blues, and I just wanted to perform. I always wanted to perform since I was a little girl. And coming from Texas, I had things like Coke bottles. That would be my microphone. And I pretend I was singing. You know, I wanted to dance. I wanted to play piano. I do know a little music, but I can't not really play a piano because the teacher that I had at first, she had me and my other two sisters. My older sister, she's the pianist. And when it got to me and she wanted to, you know, it was time for my lessons, she kind of hit me on the fingers with a hard wooden object. And I went home and told my mother, I can't go back there. You know, so I didn't keep up with the piano thing. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, that is, I mean, that's no way to, well, you know, I want to be, for the record also, now, so Dee Dee Dickerson's final show, July 24th, 1983, I'm looking here at a pretty reliable blog, and it's saying to me, and I want you to try to go back into your memory reservoir here. First show for Gloria Jones on vocals for the Jerry Garcia Band. This is what it says, is September 30th, 1983 at the Country Club in Reseda, which was, I think, in Beverly Hills. But you said it was at the Stone. And this is really important because there's people out there that want this stuff locked in. I mean, I know the Keystone where you had to walk in, you had to walk through the crowd, Jacqueline holding your hand. And you're telling me that was the first show you were in? Because this says September 30th, 83, Country Club, Reseda, California.
I know I started working with Jackie in 83 on the shows. And I think we started, I went to, like, the Keystone. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that show in Beverly Hills, I remember going to Beverly Hills. It was really awesome for me.
Right.
But I think that was a little bit after my first experiences with the Keystone.
I think this is really important because, I mean, it seems to me that the last show Jerry played, July 24th, 83, I played that for Jackie, great version of Gomorrah, but that Dee Dee was gone after that. I'll have to do some more research. This is fascinating stuff. Gloria, I wanted to ask you. Yeah.
I've got a book here, too. And I'm going to look at the book. All my things are so disorganized right now. I'm going to look at.
Yeah, no. Listen, I want to ask because I'm asking you to really go a little bit pretty deep here. But I wanted to ask you about if you could how you handled truthfully. I know you probably just went with the flow, but one thing I love about when you joined the band was that really the band was still very underground. I mean, in 1984, I was 6 years old, and you were playing at a roller rink about 10 minutes from my house in East Setauket, Long Island, and you were playing casinos and little outdoor amphitheaters. And then Jerry's lore and legend continued to grow. The Dead became very huge. And as a result, the Garcia Band became more polished because you guys stayed as a unit for 10 years with Kemper on drums. What was it like when you started to play these huge coliseums for 3, 4, 5 nights in a row? How did you handle that fame and the money? Because it must have been more than you ever got in your life.
Well, I was happy for the money.
Yeah, no doubt about that, yeah.
Make a mistake on that. But to see the crowds got bigger and bigger. And I don't remember the place. You have to excuse me. I've had a few strokes, and sometimes my brain is not totally working here.
It's doing just fine. You're doing just fine.
But we played on a tour back east, and we did an outside concert. And I can't remember if it was college kids or what, or everybody. So when we walked out, Jack and I both, when we walked out on stage, we turned and looked at each other. And I said, look at the people. And there's this church song that, not a church song, wait a minute. There's a song that they would say, look at the people, what they do with. And Jack and I started singing that little song together. It was so awesome to see all the thousands and thousands of people, coming to see us. I was just happy to be with Jerry. Are you still there?
I am. No, it's just really touching for me. I mean, in fact, what I would really love if you could is is to look back at your notes so we can do in part 2 we can fill in some of these gaps, because I really want to carve out a Gloria Y. Jones Wikipedia page, because I'm sick and tired of dealing with or having to read this other Gloria Jones.
Yeah.
And not that she's not a good performer. Some of her records are okay, but some of the stuff that you even unearthed today is quite remarkable. So let's just plan on doing part 2 in the next couple of months, but I'm going to come with you before we get to it with some questions so that we can really nail down some of this stuff. It's just a high honor to connect with you, and you were really part of an amalgamation of the Jerry Garcia Band that really one of my favorite periods of time, which is when you guys were still underground, and that's why it must have just been stunning to see those throngs of people, but bless you, my friend, and I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, I hope I'm doing pretty good with you now.
I mean, we cooked for 40 minutes. You did we did great.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I was so afraid. I don't do interviews good,
Oh, believe me. I was at, Jacqueline kept saying, I said, where's Gloria? She's like, just wait. So I did, and now it's part 1's in the book. So bless you, and we'll be in touch, friend.
Thank you, hon, and I've enjoyed it. I didn't know we were talking that long.
Yeah, and I'll get you a copy of this later on. But thank you, Gloria.
Well, God bless you, hon.
All right.
And I'll be looking forward to talking to you again.
All right. How sweet it is. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
it's a sin to know and feel too much within.